in the Golden Rule
Welcome
Society
to
radio show.
My Life. Love you and I love you so much. Oh, 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 I just love you. I just like help. I just like help. I just like you too. I just like you. I just love you. Happy New Year! I love you, say goodbye to going to school, and that's okay. Yum, 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 yum. I just love you.
Well, I just love to be serenaded. That is Ariana Stanley, better known as Princess, from Medford, Pennsylvania, who loves to join our show by introducing us with her theme song that she wrote and sings. She's part of the Golden Rule Society's kindness campaign created by Captain Len Kane and Ariana. And what they do is they have developed a program to help your school or your child's school be able to enjoy life at a higher level and really working to help prevent and provide kindness to people. And so she worked real hard with him to do that. And we're just so excited about what she has done. And that's why one day she asked her mom if she could sing a song to us. And we use it as our introductory to welcome to the radio show. We also have another reason to be excited today because we're able to share what we believe is one of the key cornerstones of having a good life, having a fulfilled life. And yeah, I could talk to you, and my guests are going to talk to you in a moment, can talk to you about your spiritual side of your life, and that is absolute, without question, the basic foundation of anything that we may talk about. But understand this, we know that God gave us the ability to dream. In fact, I believe if you look at it and study it, I don't think the enemy wants you to be fulfilled. So if you have a dream and it comes true, guess what? That's great. You have joy and you're able to accomplish. Probably in doing that, you probably helped yourself and helped a lot of other people along the way. So that's improving life. And see, that's our goal, to make life better, bigger, and be able to make an impact on people's lives. And the person that taught me this really demonstrated to me and actually blazed a trail before me and my wife to demonstrate how this can happen with some really simple tools. You know, if you're going to, I always talk about, if you're going to have a nice slice, you know, this time of year is harvest time, so you want a lot of fresh tomatoes are becoming available, and you go get one of those, and you want to slice it up and put the mayonnaise on and a little pepper and salt, maybe, or also chop it up and get some mozzarella and have a neat caprese salad. But the neat thing is, to chop it up, you better use a Ginsu knife. Because if you use a butter knife that wasn't made to cut a tomato, it'll splat. It'll turn into a wreck. It won't be what you want. But if you use a Ginsu knife, which is sharp, it was designed to cut a tomato. And you got to be careful you don't slice your finger off. But the reason I tell you this is that travel and having travel and the ability to use it as a tool is like having a Ginsu knife in your sheath, so that you have able to be, you're enabled and empowered to make a difference in your life and the life of others. And who taught me that? I get to share this because I met this guy through a friend, told me, hey, you got to talk to him. You got to listen to him. And I'm so thankful. About 7 years ago, my wife and I did that. Got a call out of the blue. Hey, this is Rick Reese. Oh, yeah, that's right. Joel said we should talk to each other. And we had a conversation. I don't know if he called me. I called him. I can't remember. But we connected. And, the next first thing that happened in our life is, for years, Lynn and I wanted to go to Europe. Oh, my goodness. We wanted to go, and we got these flyers and brochures and videos from a company called Viking River Cruise. And I was finally able to put together that trip. The promise, that really was, I was able to complete a promise I made to my wife that we were going to do. And Rick gave us the tool, gave us the ability, empowered us, trained us. And, oh, by the way, he only lived about 5 hours or 6 hours, 10 hours away. Colorado was not near Buffalo, that's all I know. I can't say I was in snow, and he wasn't. He was in snow most of the time, too, but then he got out of it. Well, guys, I just got to take time. I'm carrying on. I'm running out of my mouth here. I just get excited. When I have the opportunity, I start thinking about how Rick and Brenda touched our lives. And I pray that after you get off this call today, you'll be able to same thing. You'll be able to say the same thing. That because you had the connection and we're able to have your life touched by this individual who has walked the walk, runs a ministry, runs a program, develops tools, helps people empower them to achieve their goals and their dreams and make life better. I can't think there's anybody more that I can explain or share with you that I could be more happier to share with you in this next hour than Rick Reese. Hi, Rick.
Are you ready to enjoy the power of being debt-free? Visit the Hope Collection booth at the Health, Wealth, and Education Expo this Saturday, October 19th, to discover how Cambridge Credit Counseling can help you take control of your financial future. With over 25 years of experience, Cambridge offers trusted, no-cost solutions to reduce debt and build financial freedom. There's absolutely no cost or obligation, so call this number, 888-491-7830. Call that number today or stop by the Hope Collection booth for more information. Take the first step to a debt-free life with Cambridge Credit Counseling, a nonprofit organization committed to your success. And stop by and say hi to Ron. Hey, Ron.
Hey, Rick. Well, thank you so much for that commercial. I'll tell you, it's incredible. You know, it's funny. I did that, Rick. I had the opportunity to call that number, and I got Tim Freeman, a gentleman who is a certified financial counselor who works directly with the Hope Collection and the Golden Rule Society to provide this kind of service. Here's what it did for us. Let's say you need money to buy a new car. And you have, you're maybe almost, I'll say, even if you're strapped right now. And you go, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I mean, the cost of cars is up, the cost of doing that. I don't have extra money to go take on a new car payment, even for a used car. Well, Cambridge Financial Counseling can review with you where you stand and review your debt and your interest rates and all that stuff. What they can find out and uncover is they have ways to not do away with your debt. You got to pay that. But the interest rates can be keeping you in locked and not be able to, get above it. Well, this program, Rick, is so cool. They will actually demonstrate and put it in writing. And you work with them. It's confidential, but you work with, they don't, here, do this and you got to do that. No, they work with you to discover where they can help you. And you can end up saving hundreds of dollars a month in interest rates. So let's just say you could save $200 a month. That's a car payment. That's a car payment.
You're right.
Maybe add that to your rent, what you would be paying for your rent. Now you can improve your rent or maybe pay your rent on time. See, we have a very, very, it's a Ginsu knife. To describe it, it's a Ginsu knife of helping people get credit under control. And you don't have to be upside down or any of that for them to make this happen. And I can tell you, and I'm giving you my personal testimony, it works. It's true. We're into our third month of it, and we've been regularly, and our debts are paid. Our bills are being paid timely. The other thing is everything.
Nice.
I don't miss any due dates. If you miss Rick, I don't know, maybe a lot of people don't know this. If you miss a credit due date, a bill pay by a day, 1 day, today, not only do they have fees like $20, $30, they can double what you owe them. So You got to be careful. You can get deep debt real quick. Well, if you have a program that pays it automatically, and you have it set up, and they pay it on time, so you don't get caught with late fees, and you get caught with penalties, late payment penalties. This is really an incredible tool to help people get a control. And now we're talking about putting food on the table or wheels under your feet. So you got a car if you need a new car, or, you need a car. You want to increase or have your place you want to live, or you want to add it to what you're paying. Maybe you get another house, a newer house, because you got some extra money. That's how powerful this program is, Rick.
It really is. I was reading this article a couple of days ago about indentured servants and following the Civil War, of all races, indentured servants. And the way they kept them on the farms was debt.
Yeah.
Something.
The
way they actually kept them on the farm was debt. And so, of course, they had to, work the farm, but they also had to pay for the land and pay for their food. And they would get them in such tremendous debt that they could never leave the farm. Yeah. That has shifted to credit card and other debts, where they put these fees on where the person can never, if you look at someone in a lifeboat or a raft that's taking in water, and they got a pail, they can never dump the water fast enough that it's coming in to sink them. And you look at that form of indentured servant slavery that just kind of shifted to the mass population globally. And so for Cambridge Credit Counseling, nonprofit organization, to come in and say, hey, we can observe what you're doing and we can lower these crazy interest rates. To get you out of that indentured servant, mode and onto freedom, and to do more with your monthly money that comes in. I think it's incredible. I believe the event that you guys have a booth at for Saturday is going to be awesome, and with the people coming by, and of course we've got radio spots that's going to be announced throughout this week, like you were saying, and what I shared this morning. Is the radio spot that we can pass on to the radio announcers, and they can say it much more radio eloquent than I can, and within 30 seconds. I'm not sure if that was 30 seconds or not, but just to get the word out, to stop by the booth, or to even call that number. If you can't make the expo, call 888-491-7830. And talk to one of their counselors. And you guys have experienced it, and, you guys are a living testimony.
Well, that was why, the number one, I did it for that reason, so that someone might say, well, I've heard of companies that they make you do certain things, or that it's too restrictive. I'm telling you, you really want to look at this company. Their credibility, their processes are so easy to work with, and there's no coercion. There's no, it's not anything about guilt. It's about helping you get a handle on economics so you can have a better life. And I'll tell you what, who doesn't need this in today's world? And so the need is so great. I'm just really excited about being able to do this and to be able to do it through the radio station WUFO, Buffalo, New York, Western New York. It's number one. One of the earliest run black-owned, woman-owned, black-owned radio station in the country.
How about that?
Sheila Brown is the gal's name. I know her personally. And she not only owns a radio station here, she also owns a radio station in Atlanta, Georgia. And so the expansion of the influence, what this program and what we're doing tomorrow, Saturday, is going to have such a tremendous impact on the lives of people. So yeah, I would encourage anybody to take advantage of this opportunity, because it really can make a difference. And as I mentioned, a couple areas that I see that people could maybe get the best advantage of is, like I say, in the last few years, a lot of times you didn't buy a new car, maybe your lease is up and you got to do something right now. Well, maybe it's going to cost you more money to keep your car, but You know, go to buy a used car right now, the prices of them are really high. And so a lot of people are almost forced out of the marketplace, and they go, what am I going to do? Well, we've got an answer to something to help somebody. I've always been so proud that everything you've taught me to do, Rick, is to find a way to help people, empower people, help people overcome. And it's so rewarding. I'm just telling you, it is just so rewarding to see a smile come on somebody's face that allows them to live life at a higher level.
That's powerful. You know, Ron, you are the president and are leading the organization, the Hope Collection, helping others by helping them help others. This is just another example of the things that we do within Hope. Now, of course, we talk travel on Tuesdays, but this is sponsored by the Hope Collection. And the Hope Collection is an outstanding nonprofit organization. I am a board member as well, treasurer. And Ron, of course, you're leading us. And but we have several areas that we look at. And Ron, you always say it so eloquently. In fact, Ron, what are the areas of the Hope Collection that we focus on?
Well, we have a focus of helping people in the area of faith, family, housing, education, health and wellness, water and energy. And under those pillars, somebody gave me that name to cover, and they're like foundations. And under each one of those foundations, we have either multiple companies or single company or multiple people who have take charge to be like a focal point, a contact point that we can refer. The whole collection is like a big umbrella with services to protect you from the rain and the pain, and to turn that into sunny, bright vacations. You know, the company that we follow and we work with called Serve 365 after the pandemic had decided to come up with a theme. At our company, there was a study done, and there's a big thing in health that vacations and being away and getting away and being away from the stress and the negativity of day-to-day life, that if you'll take a vacation, particularly men, a 7-day vacation, and get away, not just take time off, but actually get away, about 32% less chance of having a heart attack or stroke.
How about
so that? The theme came up with the president and the mindset of the team and the company came up with a theme called Healing the Nation with Vacations. Doesn't that sound nice? Doesn't the idea of, after all the things that we've been going through, and then the last 3 years we've had such tremendous pressure because of inflation and things. You know, inflation hurts you. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything. You have to live with it. And what we have is a solution to live above it.
You know,
we can help people live above it. And that is so powerful.
You're absolutely right. The story behind Healing Nations with Vacations, which is very, very prophetic. Before COVID, in 2019, the summer of 2019, before COVID, almost like a year before COVID, the company, Surge 365, turned on a dime, did a pivot, and came up with a slogan, Healing Nations with Vacations. Now, this is actually before, almost a year before COVID. And of course, we say that, you know, we are, you know, a Christian company, unashamedly a Christian company, and God is doing some great things and leading us. And that's what the company did even before COVID. We turned on a pivot, turned on a dime, and said, change the website, change, you know, our motto, our slogans, and let's do Healing Nations with Vacations. And everything did a pivot around that theme. Little did we know a year later or less that, you know, we would be in the throes of COVID in 2020. And this company is being led like that each time, you know. And so when you were saying that, I was just reminded of when we made that change. And we're following, as everybody knows on this call and that listens in, we're following a divine plan. You're following a divine plan that breaks it down to the individual. And sometimes it's worthwhile to just take a moment and to think about it, and to meditate on it. What is the plan? What is my purpose in life? What are the things that I was actually born to do, that lies before me? Am I in that path? Near that path? Am I aware? And do a self-assessment to find out where you're at. Now, that has nothing to do with travel, surge. That's totally personal. Now, I can speak from my personal experience. As I began to say, okay, where am I at? Am I serving my skills, my talents for the betterment of humanity, to help people to do the things that I know in my heart that I need to be doing? Am I being used, by the mighty hand of the Lord to accomplish something that gives me some sense of self-worth, self-satisfaction, that a purpose is being fulfilled and I'm on a path? Am I there? And for me personally, as a testimony, with that self-assessment, looking inward, reflection, Surge came as a tool to help fund my freedom to do that. Surge came as a tool to fund the freedom, not only that, but to have fun, to do that. Little did I know. And so, Ron, that was something that was eye-opening to me, that I've been in this industry since 2004. 20 years I've been in the travel industry. We're founders of Surge in 2015. We're part of the Founders Circle and in 2015. And so we've been with Surge from the beginning. And one of the things that I believe separates us, and I know separates us from any travel company out there, are the umbrella of products that are part of Surge that gives a person to choose, based on what they want to do, where they want to spend their time. It could be all of it. It could be the travel agency and the career opportunities and travel, which Ron, you and Linda do so well. I mean, I am so impressed. You guys did that while I'm in the company, seeing people in the company that never did what you did. Were they born? Did they have born? Were they born? And so, but anyhow, the travel agency, the Surge 365 membership, lifestyle benefits program with the concierge and travel wholesale instead of retail. To this day, I don't understand, why people don't just take a look before they book, and at a wholesale rate to travel versus a retail rate. Obviously they don't know. And then the third thing was the vortex. Go right ahead.
I think I always like to reinforce for you what it was that made such a difference, I think, in our lives. And the reason I say that is there are other people that may have a sense like you do that I find anybody who at least takes a moment to listen to my heart, my spirit of what I'm trying to share with them. If they'll take the moment, if they'll be free enough, if they can just rise above the baggage that they have, because we all got baggage. In the last couple of years, we've got health baggage, we've got relationship baggage, we've got political baggage, we've got work baggage. I mean, it's like you remember the old train stations where they have those big dollies and they have baggage packed up, and someone be traveling, and there'd be a bunch of people following the guy, the sky cap that was moving their luggage somewhere, and people are carrying that, and all that what it means is that they're burdened. They're burdened. And sometimes that burden doesn't allow them to see. But if they can just for a moment, in that twinkling of a moment, have a possibility, just a squirt possibility that what we might be sharing with them would be an answer to what they're secretly praying. You know, I heard it said in a comment one time that people live lives in secret. They're in desperation, but they don't tell anybody about it. They may be angry, they may be sad, they may reach out, they may work harder. You know, get involved and just bury their heads in work, bury their heads in a hobby, bury their heads in anything to just avoid with the disappointment of not being able to accomplish. Just for that little spark of a moment, you can put a light in their heart. No, that's what we believe we do. We pass the torch. We're passing a light on to other people, and we can light their world up. And that you can fan that flame. And not fan it so hard you put it out, but you help it to grow and you let it stoop. Sometimes, you know, we all have this issue. We want it now. We grew up in our lifetime. We've grown in the fast food and the commercial. I want it my way. And Frank Sinatra said, "I did it my way." I mean, there's all this stuff that somehow says that you can control it. It's just the opposite. You have to let go of what's blinding you, what's the baggage. You have to let go of it. And trust that you have a God in heaven that wants to see you through it. Now, I believe that's the whole start of the whole thing, because we're still going to have the issues, all different kinds of them, and we can only get rid of so much luggage thrown off the cart so we can keep moving. But you get friends to help you do that. And then you get to move on, move out. Remember the show, use that theme song, moving on up the east side. You know, there are people that had hope that they could go from one place to another. And that's what we do today, Rick. That's the message that we have to give people today. It is hope. It is the opportunity. We believe that God's still in the dream-making business. And we're dream makers.
I believe that.
And he's a way maker. There's a song.
Way maker.
A way maker. We believe in a way maker.
Worker.
He's going to make it. You know? And it's based on that that attracts people, because who wants yuck? We got enough of it. Nobody wants any more yuck. I don't want yuck in my life. Last week, over the weekend, I had an issue. You know, we're all on the internet these days, and I caution everybody to watch out. There are people they're really bad people. They're doing things that are not nice. And they send you emails, and if you click on it and you open it up, well, what it is, it's an automatic connection for them to be able to tap into your computer or your bank. And they create problems for you. And guess where Linda and I were this morning? We were at the bank because that happened. I had to have clicked something, but when we were on our trip to Florida, I went to use my one credit card, and I couldn't do it because the bank saw that there was an issue, and they knew we were out of town, and I let them know that. I always do that when we go out of town or out of the country. I always let them know. But the issue came up, and they locked my card down. They didn't close our account, just like you couldn't use it. And fortunately, we had other resources. But the point is this, is that for a whole weekend, I have been a little distraught because I knew where we were economically and their cash stream and all that stuff. But the bank, everything, I went to go get some gas in the car. I couldn't use my normal card I use to get gas. And it frustrated me. I didn't want to tell Linda, but she knew I was upset. She goes, and finally said, "What's the matter? Why are you upset?" Then I told her, and then I believed that somehow I did something wrong. And the fact of the matter is, I hadn't done anything wrong. But there's these same people out there in the world that are trying to attack us, and we just have to be real careful. By the way, we went to the bank, got all cleared up in 10 minutes.
No, that's good. That's good. You know, one of the things that you were saying earlier, and you was talking about a quote And the gentleman that wrote the quote, Henry David Thoreau. And his quote is, "Most men lead lives of quiet desperation and go to the grave with the song still in them." Now, that's terrible.
You know what, Rick? My sixth grade English teacher, you just made me realize something. I hated English in sixth grade. I didn't particularly like my teacher. But do you know what book I had to read and what I studied? Was David Thoreau. And I remember it today. Back then, I could care less. If you'd asked me about it, the only reason I wanted to know about it is I had to answer a question on a test. But I didn't even care about it. And here you and I are sitting with the remnants of what happens to a person that doesn't overcome that issue is a sad life. And what we want to see is joy in people's hearts. We can help people overcome the sense of, you know what David Thoreau was talking about back then is the old days of post-war traumatic syndrome. They didn't call it that back then. He called it lives of desperation. People that have post-war traumatic syndrome have lives of desperation. And they need a solution. And it's like, you ever seen one of those puzzles? We'll go to the Play Store and toy store, and you see they have these, like a puzzle, and it's got a tray with a bunch of gears on it, big ones and little gears. And you turn the handle, the one gear, and it turns all the other ones. But if you get the wrong gear in the one place, or you don't have the one gear in there, none of it works. And so what we're doing is trying to help people get the gears all working in their favor. They're turning. They may be going through the motions.
It's tough. You know, it's tough because it's almost like that's something that has to be recognized within the person, before anyone outside
without question
can do anything.
Yeah.
I know I had to come to that place myself, and that the bridge and the crossroad. Once a person understands that, I believe from the inside, to making a move, there's a stoplight of fear, right? And the red light says stop, don't go any further. And really, that is your future. And when you can, overcome, override any fears to keep moving forward, knowing that it really actually is just an illusion. It's a facade. It's not even real. And that's why you can't respond to the facade and stop. Most people stop. And they don't realize that will come up each time if a person, stops. Each time you get ready to move forward, it will come up as a facade again. Stop. And it's a facade. It's not even real. And,
you know what
and then
they call that? You know what they call that in boxing, in the sport of boxing? Shadow boxing. Most of the time, we spend our lives shadow boxing. And it can be as real as we let it be. It can keep us. It keeps us, pinned down. Because
it is real.
It is real in your mind and your heart as it can be. And the thing that I believe one of the greatest tools that overcomes that is a vision of spiritual awakeness. I believe when a person realizes that they were created by God in heaven and that he really does want us individually to flourish, and he has a purpose for us, and he has a love for us, no matter what we've done or haven't done, whether we had it happen to us as a victim or we did something that caused it. God wants us
for us.
Yeah. And so
when I realized there was a protection,
I don't say that lightly, Rick. I understand. I'll call it a privilege to be exposed to a lot of different kinds of people at every economic level. I've And I've had the privilege of being around people that are, that don't, not just wealthy, but incredibly influencers in the world. And I've been exposed. And I've been exposed to some people that literally were looking for the next bottle of something to drink to stay alive. And I had in between that, my mom and dad, we had great upbringing, and a mom and dad that loved us and loved the Lord, and they wanted us to understand that we were created by our Maker who wanted. Now, see, we had that instilled in us at a young age, so as we got older, and the world teaches you to be, I use the word honest. Well, what honest means is that you see things through glasses that are tinted and shaded, and you don't see clearly, and you don't get a clear understanding or perception. And they try to teach us how to get that, how to keep that, and how to grow it. And that was by being around people who are that way. If you want to get the measles, go get with a bunch of people who got the measles. I guarantee you'll get it. You want the brokes, go hang out with the brokes, people that are broke. If you want to be better than that, you got to do with somebody that is in the process of or understands the process of improvement, not just from finances, but depth of life, of character, depth of relationships. Those are all part of the formula, the recipe. And,
it's nice when you find that crowd.
Yeah, and they're everywhere if you look. But most people...
I found that crowd with Country Boy, Joel, and listening to them on Burl Walk, the radio show, multi-gazillionaire Burl Walk, who has passed away, Lord rest his soul. But I was introduced to that crowd, listening to Joel and Country Boy and others, on the Burl Walk show, his radio show.
How did you meet that, Rick? How did you meet Burl Walk? I'm curious.
That is a good question. That's the reason why I'm laughing is there was a lady, Tatiana, that joined, a previous legacy travel company. And she says, Rick, and she was Russian, so she has a thick Russian accent, and American Russian. And she says, I must introduce you to one of my good friends, Burl Walk. I'm like, who? He said, Burl Walk. He's a multi-gazillionaire, and he does a radio show, and I need to introduce you to him. And so I said, oh, okay. She had just joined Surge 365. And so she calls him, like, at the most inconvenient time. Like on a Saturday, really crazy time. And I'm like, is he going to be available? Yes, he always answers the phone for me. And so Burl gets on, and immediately I start not knowing what my role is. Am I supposed to tell him about Surge, or travel, or I don't know, And so I'm talking, kind of a nervous talking, and then finally he says, Rick, I need you to be quiet for a minute. And he said, Rick, I hope you listen. He said, I hope you listen as good as you talk. Yeah, really deep stuff. And I shut up. And he began to pour into me. And that was really the beginning of a lesson, And one of the most important lessons that I learned, and then, of course, after we spoke and I listened, he says, Rick, I want you on my radio show, and I want you to talk about travel. And I said, oh, okay. And then that's when he invited, Brenda and I on the radio show to speak. And he'd be like, Rick, where's Brenda? You're good, but she's great.
Yeah.
And but that was our introduction to Next Level. See, what a lot of people don't realize, when you begin to serve where you're at, you're going to meet someone to go to the next level, and the next level, and the next level, and the next level. It's ever increasing higher. And when you begin to understand your purpose and serving, with your skill set, with your gift, and no matter who it is, your gift, no one can do it better than you. It is the great equalizer in all of, mankind. It's the great, it puts you out there because your gift is something that only you can do as well as you can do it. Why? Because it's yours and you were born with it. And so we started getting on the show, and then that's when I start hearing Joel, and I start hearing Country Boy. I start hearing all of these great speakers and marketers, network marketers. And one of the most comforting things in listening to these men and women of experience, and Joel and Burl would say, he says, most people, 80% of the people, drive into a job that they hate, but they stay, not realizing if they would just make a decision, to become an entrepreneur, to go in business for themselves, to set themselves free, that they are the holders of their own freedom. They have the key to let themselves loose. And when I start hearing, people just, that are free, and I realize this is where I belong, amongst the free, amongst people that are free in their minds, and not bound in their minds. You meet people that got a lot of money, they're doing this, they're doing that, but they're bound in their minds, and working for someone else and feeling that I can't be free. I've got to stay, as we would say, on the plantation. I can't go north. I can't run away. I can't break out. I got to stay in the bird cage, and not realizing they hold the key to the lock. And so as I got around these people, I started realizing that I don't have to be, the hidden, the silent majority of people that are in that desperation, wishing they were free. I can be around people where I can freely express, the fact that I'm an entrepreneur, that I'm in network marketing, where corporations will make people believe that network marketing is a bad thing, but people coming together, that's why they have friends and family. You see all the different campaigns. There's nothing more powerful than people coming together based on a relationship with a solid product, where they can do business with each other, they can train with each other, and they get paid for it. And all the money is not going to the people at the top, but just being shared amongst the network of people. And they're together creating wealth, as opposed to another person coming in and this corporation coming in and taking all the money and running the... No! People help it. And I realize in working with, Joel and Burl and Country Boy and all these folks that they're free in their mind. And they welcomed me in. And Ron, my life totally changed. But Tatiana, she introduced me to Burl. And but had I not stepped out, even in joining the business to meet her, if a person stays so close hold, if they don't share themselves with others, what they have will be all that they have. But as soon as the light comes on, that I do have something, I do have a voice, I do have something to share. And it can start with just a thought, and people will, law of attraction, people will be drawn to that thought. It starts with the willingness internal, and people will be drawn to them. Since that day, 2004, 2005, I've been growing ever since and allowing people to enrich my lives. I hear you talk about, Joel saying, hey, you got to meet this guy. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. But you've done that for me. Hey, when we went to a convention in San Diego and Coach prayed for Linda and she was going through the different things. And Coach stopped in the hallway and and Coach, who founded the previous Legacy Company, he stopped in the hallway on his way to something, and he stopped and met you and Linda, and you was just sharing with them. And he took that moment to pray for Linda, the leader of this big, huge travel company. Took that moment and the most powerful prayer, prayed for you and Linda. And I'm standing there. You talk about being enriched. That enriched me. Every person that we meet enriches our lives. And see, and that's why I love about even being involved in the Hope Collection. Because ever since I met Joel, and of course you know Joel enriches your life. Yeah. And ever since I met him, my mindset kind of changed and went to a higher level. Ron, the things that changed in my mindset led to what I'm doing right now, having moved from Colorado, to South Carolina, and ever increasingly serving, and met this gentleman that says, "Hey, Rick, we want to help rebuild the Gulf Coast from all of the different hurricanes, Helene and Milton, and that there are homes that have been just wiped out, lives that have been wiped out." And he said, when you hear 1 billion home insured, he said, know that there's about 3 to 4 billion that were uninsured, that have no hope of rebuilding. You got the insured, but you have the uninsured, which is like 2-3 times more. And he said, what we want to do is we want to put together, a coalition of different builders and designers and architects and city planners, and that will come together and to develop a plan to help these folks. And he said, we want to have the driver be the veterans workforce. The veterans. Because, veterans have a work ethic. Veterans, they can learn. We can teach them skills and trades, and they have an ethic. And, and he said he wants that to be the driver to put them back to work and to help rebuild and to lead and to da-da-da. And he said, and Rick wants you to lead it. And I went, okay. I said, okay. You never say no, because God does different things. You're not doing it anyway. God's doing it. And he's the one that works through you. So you never, even like joining a business, don't be afraid. God's doing it anyway. What happens is people's pride, thinking they're doing something about something and not doing nothing about nothing, is, yes or no. And God is saying, hey, I want to promote you. But I've been saying, so with Burl, I've been in the habit, meeting you, and I've been in the habit of saying, I'll serve. Yes, I'll do it. And it takes you higher and higher and higher, and your life is more fulfilled, more purposeful, and that is the path that we're talking about, Ron.
Something, you just reminded me something, Rick. For the last, I don't mind telling people, I'm 70, I realize now I'm 72 years old. Linda reminded me. And I grew up, we still live in the community basically where we grew up. And although we've been able to bless last few years of travel. But there's this one street not far from our house here. It's called Harlem Avenue. And it's a north-south route, and it goes for quite a ways from the north to south, Buffalo and everything. It's the main thoroughfare. And there's this nursing home that when I was a kid, I remember in high school, they closed it down. It's been boarded up. A big brick building, about, I don't know, they probably have 200 or 300 rooms in this building. And it's painted bright blue. It's got a fence around it because they closed it. They shut it down. The owners of the facility, I think, did some bad stuff, and they ended up when they went out of business. And the building has been closed up. My entire adult life, this building has sat, and I've driven by it week after week after week after week, moved away, and even coming in to visit, it sit there. Well, Saturday, we were driving down Harlem Road, and I looked over, and there's a big banner on the side of the building. T2T, Tunnels to Towers, is rebuilding and renewing and going to turn that into a homes for veterans. Well, almost home for veterans. they're building that whole operation is now going to be reutilized and put back to work and put back to use, and it's going to benefit a whole bunch of people that right now don't have a place to stay.
Wow.
And that organization called Tunnels to Tower is doing it because their banners on the side. I was so excited to see that because I see commercials on TV. And the founder of it, I've actually talked to the man. We were touching base with him. He got a message from Mary Stanley, one of our board members from Towers Tunnel, and Frank. His brother he was a fireman, ran into the towers on 9/11, and he went in to save people, but he did, but he lost his life. And his brother now has created this Towers to Tunnel Foundation to help veterans and fallen heroes. And now they're building housing for veterans in every city around the country where they're doing it. And we have one going up here in Buffalo. I'm so excited. I got goosebumps just thinking about that. And now I'm thinking about, down in the Carolinas and, Florida, Georgia, Carolinas, Virginia, Tennessee. Those are areas that are going to need new building, new housing done and everything like that. On one hand, it's a tragedy that all the things have happened. On the other hand, think of all the people that are going to be employed to rebuild and restructure and help people create new lives. Out of a tragedy, we're going to have a lot of joy and overcoming, and it's not going to be easy because they're starting from worse than scratch. But there's a sense of desire to achieve, to live, it's built into us, Rick. God put that in our whole being to be and do better. That's what we were created to do and honor Him. And when we do that, He gives more than gives us the tools. How many times out of nowhere something comes? You were in Colorado and you'd been living a pretty nice life. You worked very hard, and God blessed you and rewarded you for all the things that you were doing and had done and been doing that. And all of a sudden, He kind of stirred the pot a little bit and said, hey, I need you in Charleston. And you weren't quite sure why you were going to Charleston, but you went. And now you're doing things that you hadn't necessarily thought about doing, and now you're going to make the difference in how many lives are going to be benefited because you and Brenda, you got a little uncomfortable, putting all your stuff you own.
A lot uncomfortable. There were like at least 5 times I was going to say no. At each promotion, a person has an opportunity to say no because of whatever. It may be fear. It may be I don't know what I'm doing. It may be whatever. But I've had at least 5 or more opportunities since I've been in Charleston to say no to something. And when you say no, it's almost like in the Bible where the prophet said to the widow woman, go out and borrow containers, as many as you can, from your neighbors, from everywhere. And the oil will not stop unless you stop. And she went out and she got all the containers. Hey, I need a container. And the oil just kept pouring to the last container. And then it stopped. When we say no, it's okay, but it stops. Now, of course, Father, you can start it up again, but you know what I'm saying. And so I've had at least 5 opportunities. I guess they say what you reach your level of incompetence when you say no or fear, and to say no. And I said, okay. And then I realized the thing that I thought I had to do, I didn't have to do. And I'm like, man, I'm sure glad I didn't say no. And then I go to the next one. I'm like, okay. And I realized once again, the thing that I thought I had to do, I didn't have to do. And that's how it always is. But people will say no, thinking they have something to do with something when they have nothing to do with nothing. to go to that next level, it's a yes. And that trust is not in yourself. That trust is the fact that you're being guided. You're being provided. Provision is available for you. If you need wisdom, if you need knowledge, if you need understanding, if you need someone else to come in that does what you think you have to do, somebody else will come in. We built the greatest business, not with myself and Brenda, because we didn't know what we were doing, but the people that showed up, the people that were sent, built a huge travel business. And it was, I could have said no, thinking that I actually had to go out and do all of this. In fact, you hear me tell the testimony, I was downtown volunteering in the community when the business was going crazy without me. And the Lord revealed in my heart, he says, look, I don't need your efforts. All I need is your obedience. And so almost 5+ opportunities to say no led me to, Rick, will you help rebuild the Gulf Coast? And I can look back, and I keep a journal. By the way, keep a journal. If you don't, everybody listening, I can look back at each time, I said yes, and then I met the person at that level. And I said yes, and then I met the next person at that level. And I was thinking about it this morning, I could string back all the way to Burl, and even further, of course, into meeting all the people along the way that I said yes, and it took me to the next level and the next level. That's everybody on this call. Take a moment and reflect. Take a moment and reflect. And in that reflection, see which the trend is. If you have a trend of no, you can immediately change it and start saying yes. And what are you saying yes to? You're saying yes to your purpose. Back to you, Ron.
Well, I'm telling you, what an incredible hour that I just looked at the clock and I realized what time it is. And it seems like when we start, we do the show for an hour a day, and it just flies. And we cover so much territory, and there's so many revelations of information, love, and building people up. That we're doing it to help somebody else, yet we end up being benefited from being able to share, give out.
That's true.
That's good God work. And I'm so thankful, this is an important part of our life. People think, well, we just do this. Well, there are people who do what we do as a job. What they do it for is a paycheck with the idea that it's going to let them live a certain way. What our business is today is changing lives and making it better and building God's kingdom. There's no end and it's so, the breadth of it and the depth of it is so incredible, exciting. And so we just cherish it. And our biggest thing is we know we have to put our light on, we don't put our light on a bushel. We put it on the top of the hill and let it shine in the whole valley. And we're touching lives not for our sake, but for God's kingdom, because people need us and need our message. And I'm so proud and excited that I was able to be welcomed into the team. I got to tell you, when you moved from Colorado to Charleston, I was happy for you, without question. But one of my visions and dreams I always wanted to accomplish before COVID and going back to when we first did meet up, you were holding meetings at a local hotel where the people would come in and the door would be open for them, the invitation to sit down and hear a presentation of what we do. And my dream, I wanted to accomplish, I got to figure out another way to do this now, but was to come in and walk and surprise you, get on the plane and fly in and walk into one of your meetings. That was a dream and a vision I wanted to do, because I wanted to walk up in front of everybody and just say, thank you, Rick. Because for 3.5 years before I did meet you in person, you poured yourself out into our lives and enriched it. And so we want to make sure you're still doing that today. And like I said, now I got to figure out a way that I can do that same thing in some way, and we're going to do it at some point. I'm figuring out how we're going to do that.
Real quick, I updated the website, team website, goteamget.com, GOTEAMGET.com, where it is so easy to see the products of Surge 365. I mean, it really is good. Let's say so myself. GoTeamGet.com.
Well, I have another webinar to go to right now, training session by Delta Airlines. When they're going to listen to it. All right, after this, and then I will go online. I will go to Go Team Get. But to everybody listening in on the show and partaking, we welcome you. If you have any questions, give us a holler. Again, thank you for the commercial about the expo, the Health and Wellness Expo at the Aqua in Buffalo, New York, Niagara Street on Saturday, 11 to 4. And you're welcome to come. It's free, and we will have explanations and information available both on the health side of things with Beth Wyman, the nutritionist, dietitian, who is a certified person that provides help and services. We're going to talk about diabetes at the program and prevention and help. And then we're going to have Cambridge Financial, the how to get yourself really how to move ahead in this world that's taking you out. So thank you, Rick, for sharing so much with us today and helping us have this dream move forward. Thank you.
Amen. God bless.
God bless you too. See you tomorrow. Bye now.